Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Signatures and Finishers podcast. I'm your host, DS Walk. Yes, I got it right on the first try because your boy ain't trying to crack jokes on the intro right now. I hope everybody's having a good Saturday. A lot of college football going on. If you like me and Jamie at 6:30, we're waiting on the Michigan and Michigan State game. We all know who's going to win that game, so we don't need to go into more details on that one. It's a rivalry, the Paul Bunyan Cup for Blue. Other than that, welcome to the SFP podcast. And remember, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and share our podcast because we deeply appreciate it. Friday Night SmackDown.
Enough said. Enough said. Show's over.
Ladies and gentlemen, my tag team partner. I finna tag him in. Jamie.
Boy, they tried to make it entertaining. I would say the best overall. I mean, most people would say probably, Jimmy and Drew, but you could tell where that was going for the second that Jimmy showed up on TV. So I would still say Tiffany and Kiana James were probably the best match on there.
I 100% agree with you. Let me tell y'all something right now. SmackDown was not a bad show. SmackDown wasn't a good show. SmackDown was just a type of show. Anytime out of the matches they had, I think it was like about 6, 7 matches. And the only one that actually further line the story or actually something that's actually to talk about is Jade Cargill turning heel finally after what, Jamie, 2 years?
Yeah, she's been there about 2 years, yeah.
Finally
Little
turning
over.
heel because nobody likes her. Nobody's not buying her as a baby face. We not gonna get into all that her wrestling skills and her mic on the microphone. We're not gonna talk about that. But she finally turned heel. She attacked Tiffany and she went all in on her. The only question I have, the only thing I have is that we seen Jade turn heel, beat up the champion, who is sometimes a heel and sometimes a face.
I would say she's always a face since she's had the title. It's just the whole she has the attitude kind of like the anti-hero. So she can play both sides. So that's one of the advantages that she has. Not a lot of people get to do that. I mean, you're seeing like with Cody right now, Cody's starting to do heel things. So it's going to turn on him. Where like Tiffany, she started off as a heel and became champ, and then they turned her to a babyface. So she kind of gets to play in that gray area of getting to do both, and she'll be okay because it's kind of expected from her. Cody hits somebody with a belt, and you think the world's ending because, oh, it's Cody Rhodes. Cody can't do that. But they need to turn him heel too because he's boring. He's stale.
Yeah, it seems, and we say that every week.
Yeah. And hopefully this is the start of it. I mean, Drew had to bring up the whole I got screwed at WrestlePalooza because clearly they were doing something story wise with that, but they haven't acknowledged it since then. Drew McIntyre is the one that has to say something about it, but yeah, they've got to turn Cody heel to keep him relevant.
Yeah.
Or get the title off of him and let him go down and just feud with somebody else random. Because that's basically what his title runs have been, just random matches. Just let him go down and do that. Him having the title is a waste.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that. So this heel turn by Jay, it was much needed like yesterday. And that's
Should have
not a
been from
knock
day
on
one.
Jade. That's a knock on the creative. Because what did we say for all this time? Jade is not a likable personality. She's a heel by nature. She always been a heel. You can tell that when you're trying to make someone a face who's naturally a heel, it just don't come out. It just don't come off authentic. Sorry. I mean, I don't care if you put her with Bianca, you put her with Naomi, it didn't work. She's a natural heel. Now the thing is, what they're gonna do with her now that she's a heel. Now we all know that she wants a championship. More likely, she probably get that shot at Saturday Night's main event, or
Oh, they already announced that.
they did.
Yeah, it was on SmackDown. They showed it for Saturday night's main event.
Well, and quite honestly, I think there might be a title change.
There's going to because it's the only way you can make her a credible threat.
Yeah, that in you can't have someone lose to. She can't lose to Tiffany for the fourth time, fifth time. I'm even counting the triple threat matches with Nia Jax. You can't have her continue to lose to Tiffany Stratton unless you have a game plan in mind. And as of right now, as we see, the WWE don't have a game plan in mind when it comes to the women's division right now. Now, the good thing about that whole thing was that we finally got to see Julia again, but unfortunately, she wasn't
Not
in the
wrestling.
ring wrestling. She was just in the corner of Kiana James. And, it is what it is with that. Me and Jamie could go 2 hours and tell you guys Julia is the best women's wrestler on that roster next to Stephanie Vaquer. Why would you put her?
I would say she's second best next to Io. I would say it's
Io?
Io,
Okay.
Julia, then Stephanie.
Okay, Io. So with that said, she in the top three. So why would you give her United States Championship, put her on SmackDown, and all thing we seen was her fight Zelina Vega, and that was it.
I
She had
think she's got some sort of injury that
they not
isn't
talking
too
about.
serious because I mean she's been in tag matches,
Mm-hmm.
but does the light work. I think she's got some sort of just nagging injury, and that's basically what's happening. Is she's now become the manager of Kiana, and Kiana's doing the bulk of the work. But that's the only thing I can think of because it's not like she's not attending the shows. It'd be
No,
one thing if she had
she's
like a
there at the
family
shows.
thing or something's going on and she's not on the show, period. But for her to be out there all that time and never wrestling, and when she is, it's a tag match, I think she's got some sort of not too serious, just nagging injury that just not healing up the right way or something. Because it doesn't make any sense that she has this title. And again, it's what I talk about. They're very subjective with titles. Finn and JD didn't wrestle for the tag title since
Months.
July. Julia not defending her title for when's the last time she had an actual title defense?
I think it was it Zelina? No, no,
Yeah,
no, 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 no. It was after Zelina. It was after Zelina. I forgot
she's
who
only
it was.
defended it like what, twice though? Two, three times tops? Like there used to be a rule that you defended the titles once a month. That was like the whole thing. And now it's just like, oh, you could be the champ for a year and it's like UFC. John Jones can keep the title for years on end and never fight.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of embarrassing where one of your top wrestlers who is United States champion and really just not doing anything. Again, it's not her fault. She can't do creative. She can't write these stories.
Makes you
And
wonder why
again, she
they
might she might got a little she might be a little dinged up. We don't know. They haven't came out and said anything. She might be. But at the end of the day, at least she's on camera. She's showing up. So I
makes it
guess
look like they created those titles just to pacify the women's division.
yeah. Man, I just kind of don't sit here in the ring. Not in a tag team match and singles action because she can go. I mean, she really can go. Now you touch on the Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre, so we got to throw in your favorite Uso, Jimmy.
I mean that's a fact. He is my favorite Uso.
Your favorite Uso. So before we came on the show, before we start the show, you had said, "I told you Jimmy's going to be on SmackDown." You was right, and you know why Jimmy on SmackDown? Because they got nothing for Jimmy. Jimmy's going between both shows, and usually the only superstar that float between both shows are the legit superstars. Jimmy Uso, not saying he's not a superstar, he is, but he's not on that level where you can say a Roman Reigns or a Seth Rollins, just for example, can float between both shows. Well, Cody Rhodes. Jimmy Uso has nothing to do. You put him on Raw, and now you doing this story after him and his brother, where it looked like they might end up fighting each other again. We don't want to see that. He goes over here on SmackDown and he saves Cody Rhodes. On Raw, he's like the odd man out in his own family. He goes over here on SmackDown and save another family member, a guy who beat his cousin, a guy that he's cool with that beat his cousin, saved him from Drew McIntyre, the uncrowned champion. The last 2 weeks, we have seen Cody Rhodes squash that. Over the last months or so, we have seen Cody Rhodes do heel things. Like it is the end of the world, like you said. And he got to do these things just to, I don't know, make a point, prove a point. And at some point, they're gonna have to turn Cody heel. But this match with Drew McIntyre, we're gonna see a certain as main event next Saturday. I'm hoping for a title change. I'm hoping that Drew McIntyre beats Cody Rhodes and becomes the new world's heavyweight champion. If you would have told me a week ago, I would have said 100% Cody. Now I'm like 50-50. But now today, I'm telling you, I want Drew to win. Not because I dislike Cody, because I don't. It would improve the show, one. Two, Drew McIntyre would have better stories to tell. And three, Cody right now doesn't need a title to tell the stories that he's going to be going up again. He don't need the title to fight Randy Orton. It will enhance the story, but you don't need the title.
No, you're right. Cody needs to get rid of the belt. Cody, as we've said, shouldn't have gotten the belt back yet because there's no point. They're trying to push him into stories because they don't even have anything with the whole Jacob Fatu thing. All of a sudden he's coming out to beat up Drew because Jacob Fatu got hurt. Like he doesn't care. Like it doesn't even make sense that he would come out to beat up Drew because now Jacob got taken out of a number one contenders match. Jimmy, okay, that him showing up on the show, yeah, it's his cousin, whatever. It's still a stretch. It just shows that they have no direction for Jimmy whatsoever. But okay, you want to push that, have the big match. But what? Jimmy lost. Jimmy lost a fight that he asked for, no DQ match. So is he going to keep showing up on SmackDown to try and mess with Drew? That doesn't make any sense.
No, and actually, if Drew has said something interesting last week, and I think we're going to see the WWE going to continue to tell the story of who attacked Jacob Fatu.
Well, they have to because they have to give Jimmy something to do.
Yeah, so Drew said he didn't do it, but he said maybe Jimmy did it. Now, it wasn't too long ago before Jacob went out with his due to his injury, storyline injury, but he is out with a dental issue. He made it known that he wants to fight for the World Heavyweight Championship, the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And I know there were rumors that before he had went out with his injury, they were talking about a triple threat match between Jacob Fatu, Drew McIntyre, and Cody Rhodes. Unfortunately, we're not going to get that. At some point when he comes back, whoever is champion, we're going to see Jacob Fatu battle for the title. Now, my only guess is whoever's the champion at that time is probably the one who attacked Jacob Fatu.
Yeah, they're just going to shoehorn anybody that they have to in there. Jacob's super over. You knew it was only a matter of time that he'd get the title because everybody loves him. I love him. I think he's great. It's just going to put Jimmy odd man out again. And I mean, they just keep adding more members. They're just taking anybody from Tonga or Samoa and just they're all part of the bloodline. Like they're talking about bringing in Zila Fatu, so that's just another one. Like you're just going to keep pushing Jimmy farther and farther and farther and farther down.
Hey, The Rock's been busy behind the scenes we didn't know about.
I mean, I feel bad because Jimmy, out of the two of them, like I've said before, is the more talented one. Again, it just comes down to he doesn't have the hype theme song that Jay has. That's really the only separating difference. Hopefully, they can get rid of this, Def Rebel thing that they got going on with all the wrestlers being upset and get some Jimmy some new music and give him a push. I mean, this would be the time to do it. Drew's not that I want him to get stuck into an extended feud with Drew McIntyre because it's not going to help Drew McIntyre in the least, but it would help Jimmy.
Yes,
But it's not, it would be a one-sided gain. It would only help Jimmy and make Jimmy relevant. It would actually hold Drew back drastically, and Drew's been held back far too much already. I mean, you had the whole thing with CM Punk. You've got this stuff that every time he gets close to the title, he gets screwed out of it. WWE doesn't acknowledge it in any sort of way, to the point that Drew had to bring it up last night that he got screwed at WrestlePalooza. They did nothing with that story with the referees blatantly screwing him. But if it's all going to lead up to Cody's paying off refs and starting to cheat and this and that, fine. Turn it into something. That's what they need to do because Cody's character is stale.
It is stale. And actually, you know the one story that they tease us with and they still never finish that story is Drew McIntyre against Roman Reigns. For the longest time, he said his mission is to take out the entire bloodline. And they teased that last year Royal Rumble, Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns. Never happened. Who they give us? LA Knight and Drew McIntyre.
Drew would have to get the title first. Let him get the title and then make that his story is that he just runs through the entire bloodline. That would
Well,
be entertaining. That would be something memorable because if you're going to give
technically, he
Drew,
did. Technically, he did.
yeah, but if you're going to give Drew the title, you already screwed him once and took the title away as soon as you got fans back in the stands. You owe him another run with people in attendance to see what he can actually do. You see what he can do without the title. He's basically your most consistent guy that you have on any show that can play a heel. I mean, who else do you have? Gunther? That's the only other consistent top main event heel guy that you really have. You gonna try and put Solo Sikoa in that group? Not even close.
Solo Sikoa is more like a manager slash wrestler right now.
Yeah, and he's basically what should be an entry level. I wouldn't even call him mid card.
Yeah. And right now, I'm not even complaining about Solo. It's because he got his MFTs and they're doing their own thing with the Y6. God knows that we don't need another stare down. And for the life of me, where is Bo Dallas? All of a sudden, he just disappeared. Nobody knows where Bo Dallas is. Why would you take Bo Dallas off TV and leave his faction by themselves? I'm sorry, his lieutenant, Nikki Cross, almost a superhero, is leading the Y6 right now. So why would you take Bo Dallas off and knowing that you about to start up a story with the MFTs? And the only thing we got is stare down. Teasing everybody, hey, might be our War Games main event. Nobody ain't trying to see that.
I think they keep him off TV because, for the most part, when he's off TV, they keep the Wyatt Six off TV. Wyatt Six hasn't had the reception and staying power that they clearly had hoped for.
I wonder why.
And there's nobody's fault in that except creative. Because they have dropped the ball repeatedly. You had easily what should have been the hottest and easiest to tell stories with the Wyatt Six. And they tried to bring them in first off like they're killing people in the back, like Chad Gable's like laying there with like dead. It was just stupid the way they brought him in. The vignettes and everything were great. Got people interested. But then when you actually introduce them, you've got like Chad Gable, oh my god, he's dead. Blah, blah. Like it was just dumb.
I didn't hate that, but I thought it was okay. I like the vignettes with the videotape.
Yeah, the vignettes were good.
He's interviewing everybody, then he interviewed himself, Bo Dallas, and you get the backstories of each member of the Y6.
But a group like that, you don't have them come in and beat up Chad Gable. Like, you have them come in and do something big right off the bat because you're already going to have the crowd super invested because it's something of Bray Wyatt. And they completely dropped the ball by, oh, you're going to go attack Chad Gable and beat up some random referees and stuff in the back. Like, they completely dropped the ball on the whole thing, and they've cooled off big time. I mean, having the tag titles and stuff, cool, but we see how WWE treats tag teams. Like, it's just a placeholder for nothing.
Yeah. Look, me personally, I probably would have done the vignettes to introduce them more. Maybe I might would have took out some of Bray's vignettes when he was with the Wyatt family, the spooky house and everything. I probably would have used some of those ideas. But the Y6, it seems that from day one, they didn't know how to not just introduce everybody. You was getting conflicted reports on who is Alexa Bliss going to be part of this from day one, or are they going to wheel her in at some point because she wants to be part of it because of Bray, and they didn't bring her in. Nikki Cross is in there, but they still teasing that. Well, she still got.
And Nikki Cross doesn't wrestle. Nikki Cross doesn't wrestle.
I know. Sister Abigail doesn't wrestle, ladies and gentlemen. So
it just comes down to they don't have people that are capable of telling stories in WWE. The whole we make moments thing, it's not up to you to design a moment, because when a moment is designed, people can tell, and it doesn't have the impact that you want it to. The moments happen when you're telling good stories and people reacting to what's happening in that story. I keep going back to it whenever we talk about it. Logan Paul grabbing that drone before he jumped off the top rope onto the outside. That was a moment. But that's something that Logan Paul made happen. Like, they're not trying to tell good stories. They're just trying to set things up to, oh, we're going to make this viral and we're going to get 5 million views on it or something. Don't mind the other 2 minutes of what's going on that are complete garbage, but this hot 5 seconds that we're going to make viral is all people are going to talk about.
Again, we said numerous times, that's always going to be a problem. And yes, I'm back and forth because I've been blurred for about a while here.
You look like a watercolor painting for a while.
Yeah, I did. Riverside shows no mercy. I'm just saying. Yeah. You would love for the WWE to be consistent with their writing. What I mean is that we seen the last 2 weeks, except for this week, the last 2-3 weeks, we seen the WWE making a turn of, okay, you know what, we're gonna go young and we're gonna get our numbers back up because our numbers hit at all time low on Netflix, on USA. ESPN came out and said they're disgruntled, not happy with their numbers. You know, the Saturday Night's main event, how much I do love Saturday Night's main event, the numbers of Saturday Night's main event's not doing well. Even doing the old school way, they're not doing too well because everybody knows is that the WWE plays it safe. Give you a little here, but then they don't tell you nothing here. They give you a moment here, and they give you nothing the rest of the way. We know that Triple H like doing 5 matches. Sometimes he need to do 6 or 7. Times, you know, you will love to see the consistency of, let's continue the story. Let's continue the story from one event to the next event to the next event until the story is officially done. You haven't been getting that. Now we see them going back to, we just doing that type show.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if the best thing that you can take away is a Jade Cargill heel turn out of the whole entire show, something is wrong. Oscar Black and Zelina Vega came out as a team. You would think that we'll talk about that, how cool that is. He answered the Open Challenge, United States Open Challenge against Eliel Dragunov. That was a good match.
But what did it accomplish?
Nothing.
You took one person doing the Open Challenge to pay respect to the whole John Cena thing, blah, 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 to now the new champion's going to do it. So what? Ilya's going to keep the title for 6 weeks, maybe 10 weeks, and then drop it? You're going to say his first title run, he's going to get 10 title defenses? Like, come on. So what, he's going to keep it for a month, 2 months, realistically?
Yeah, maybe.
Like
until they put
if they're going to do the Open Challenge every SmackDown, he's going to have more title defenses basically than anybody.
Yeah. I don't dislike him having a match with Aleister Black. In fact, I would like them to have a feud. Let's tell this story.
But it would have made more sense on your same show. You clearly don't want to let the Damian Priest, Aleister Black story die.
Right.
Which, again, should have been done. Take Damian off TV for a little bit. Do the whole, oh, his eyes burned. He's barely off TV. But you have him show up at the end of the match. You know what would have been a perfect replacement for that and still would have made far more sense? Why don't you have Jimmy Uso wrestle in that match?
He has nothing to do.
Give Jimmy a chance to almost win. Make it close. Ilya's going to win clean, but make it close to show Jimmy's credible. Maybe in a few weeks, 2 months, Jimmy comes back and challenges again, maybe wins. All of a sudden, Jimmy's got a belt. And if you want to keep the Open Challenge thing going, cool. It'll build Jimmy up. It'll give him some actual opponents. You could have done something with him.
It would give him some credibility in his own family.
I mean, he's going into the real life side of things. Like,
no, I mean, on the real life,
on a story side,
story,
they're still going to look down on him because it's not a world championship.
Yeah, but still,
but it would set him in a path to go for a world championship because right now he's not even on a path to even contend for one.
Yeah, I understand that, but just for Jimmy to have a singles title.
Yeah.
Just to know what it's like to have a singles title.
And I'm saying, I just thought about that a couple minutes ago. So imagine if they could have people that were paid to do this. I think maybe they could have thought about that. Would it make more sense to have Jimmy show up on SmackDown to answer an open challenge for a title than it would be to come defend his cousin that they don't show on TV together or anything, and all of a sudden now he's all upset because Jacob got beat up? Like, come on.
Yeah. Or maybe it makes more sense that you keep Damian Priest off TV. You get him a little bit of a character refresh. Just a little. Not over dramatically.
He doesn't have a
Keep this
character. He doesn't even have a character.
right. And he comes back. He goes after Aleister Black. It maybe just may make more sense that he would enlist the help of his best friend, Ripley, to help him take on Aleister Black and Zelina Vega. It makes more sense. Why? Because Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley are friends. Go hand in hand. Hey Rhea, I need your help. I'm dealing with a married couple here. I'm dealing with Zelina and Aleister Black. Instead of having her doing this Io Sky thing, being the fourth wheel, she could be helped by her best friend. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Makes more sense.
Makes a lot more sense, but
and then you actually give Rhea something to do.
Again, there's no consistency because they'll say, "Well, Rhea's on Raw. We can't have her just show up on SmackDown." But yet, anybody else they can just have move back and forth. It's just a lack of consistency.
Who we didn't know went to Raw. Danny explained us why he went to Raw. He's on Raw now, and he shows up on SmackDown. Man, Frank, you remember once upon a time this be a brand split?
Yeah, well, that's basically why I stopped watching wrestling for a long time, because the brand split was just stupid. It's still stupid that they try and enforce it now. It's complete garbage.
Yeah, nobody will follow the rules of the brand split. We just seen wrestlers bounce from one show to the other.
No, because like right now, when the ratings dip, what are you going to do? You're going to make up excuses why you have to move wrestlers to other shows to get people to watch. Not that moving Jimmy to SmackDown is going to move the needle at all, because it's not. I don't know why they thought that was like a solid thing. Hey, here's an idea. We're going to put Jimmy over there. If you would have moved Jay over there for a couple weeks, you might get some views, but moving Jimmy is not going to do it. I'm telling you, I could run that company and not even have to get out of bed on a daily basis and bring in far more viewers than what they got going on.
So basically, you saying you'd be running the company while you sleep.
Yeah. And there certainly wouldn't be any stupid AI coming up with storylines. I can promise you that. So
basically, you're saying you have your 10-page writing notes right here. You just fax it, email them to your writer, to your head writer, and this is what we're doing. This is how I want to go. All right, I'm going back to bed. Talk to you guys later.
Yeah. You take a group of wrestlers. Hey, you guys are assigned to this writer. Take another group. You guys are assigned to this writer. This is the overarching story that I want to tell. Come up with something and bring it back to me.
Yeah, I can't wait till we go to Stamford, Connecticut. I'm waiting for that field trip. I can't wait to go. Again, this is what they give us on SmackDown. This is what they give us. Listen, we had the MFT versus Rey Fenix and Shinsuke Nakamura. Why are you consistently putting Rey Fenix in a tag team where the only tag team he should be in is with his brother? The man is a great singles wrestler.
Can we acknowledge
that be a single wrestler and maybe wrestle for a title or be a contender for a title? Stop putting him in a makeshift tag team. I mean, Rey Fenix and Shinsuke Nakamura, come on, man.
Can we acknowledge that Rey Fenix and Dragon Lee look too much alike with their masks on?
We can acknowledge that.
They need to do something to divide those guys up in looks, because you could very easily make the mistake of calling him Dragon Lee or calling Dragon Lee Rey Fenix, because it's a little too similar.
Is that Rey Fenix is a little taller and Dragon Lee is a little thicker.
Yeah, but that's my point, is if you're not looking at those things, you could very easily start mistaking the two. Penta at least wears like the full suit and everything like that, easy to tell. Like when WCW had all the luchadors, they were all very distinguished in how they looked, from Super Crazy to La Parka to Juventud to Eddie Guerrero. They all had a look. Dragon Lee and Rey Fenix look way too similar.
Man.
And that's two of your three top luchas right there. Because I don't really count Dominic in that, because why?
King of the Luchadors.
I mean, it's a great, tagline and great gimmick to promote yourself, but let's be honest. He might do a frog splash every once in a while, but that doesn't really count.
I'm reading this. And the last time that Ray Phoenix was in the ring, he lost to Grayson Waller.
That's another person that I wish would find the release line. Like, there's very few times that I just change the channel when somebody's on. I'll start doing something else. Like, I'll be playing video games, I'll be doing whatever. But to like change the channel, Grayson Waller is like one of the very few people that can get me to change the channel. He's just that bad.
Sometimes, man, I just don't. And it was on main event, so that should tell you everything you need to know about how the WWE feels about Ray Phoenix, because he's one of their bigger signings.
Mm-hmm.
And he wrestled on main event, and he loses to Grayson Waller.
If you would have said Austin Theory, I'd say, okay, I could still see that for a development purpose.
There's still a little bit of credibility to Austin Theory.
Yeah. Grayson Waller's never done anything. And throwing him in the whole New Day thing on top of it, like, New Day, I know they just got renewed, which irritates me because they're not doing anything relevant. They haven't been relevant since Big E got hurt, sadly.
Well, it goes back to they haven't given them anything consistently good. I mean, look, losing Big E was huge, and it hurts them as a team. Honest to God, it really do. Losing Big E hurts them as a 3-man team, and I think they're trying to go back to that. But the thing is, though, it's just not the right mix with Grayson Waller.
No,
Need
absolutely not.
New Day needs muscle. They need a guy similar to Big E who's that muscle, who fits in with them personality wise, creative wise, and someone who's the opposite of the skill set that they need. Because New Day as a 2-man team, it's no good.
Well, I mean, they had it for a hot minute with Odyssey Jones.
But then he dropped the ball.
Well, if you look at the lawsuit that he has, he's suing his ex-girlfriend for slander of why he got released. If he wins that, it's the Johnny Depp thing come back around. He wins that, career could come back, he could get signed. Basically, that's clearing his name if he wins that lawsuit.
We'll see.
I mean, Odyssey did give them a nice little pick me up because it was fun the couple of weeks that he was on the show. But
yeah, it was good seeing
yeah,
Xavier Woods squirm and not feeling it for about 2-3 weeks.
yeah, because New Day is not a credible heel team, and I think that's part of why I've soured on them. They're funny, goofy guys. We all know Xavier Woods is a big video game guy. He's got the Up Up Down Down podcast, all that kind of stuff. Like trying to force them to be heels. You've got DIY for that. You've got a bunch of other tag teams that you could let New Day be the New Day.
Well, see, they could have been a credible heels. They could. They got off to a good start by dissing E, blaming E for this whole thing. That was a great start. That was fine. I was
Yeah,
cool
but
with
that
that.
that
But
lacks
then,
substance because it's not like Big E can come out and fight.
right, right. I mean, they gave that tease where he might come back. Big E shut that down with that nigga. He wasn't coming back. They got off to a good start. The problem is, it's like any other thing in the WWE. They was not consistent with it, and they didn't give them a credible feud with another tag team to say, "Hey, New Day is actually back." I mean, you gave them the Viking Raiders, and the way they beat the Viking Raiders for the championship was kind of uninspiring. Then you get in the titles, and it was an uninspiring title run. Like, I got a kick out of them losing the titles and going to the morning than them winning the titles or even chasing the tag team champions.
Yeah, I mean, it just comes down to they don't care about tag team wrestling at all. I mean, the easy spin on that is when they not attacked, but like verbally attacked Big E and all that stuff. Go manage a team. Go manage a team that comes back to beat the hell out of them and build a feud out of it. Do something. People like Big E. He's not going to be the same boisterous guy that he was before, but you can get him on TV as a manager.
He is a. I look at Big E right now. Big E is the biggest cheerleader, biggest male cheerleader. He, like you said, he'll do good for a tag team that can go up against New Day because he would inspire them to beat the New Day. Or if you wanted to bring E back, You could just make all three of them heels, and Big E would just be their manager.
I don't personally know why Big E isn't on TV with them. Everybody knows he broke his neck. Nobody's expecting him to hop in the ring and wrestle. So I'm not sure why they don't have him on TV unless he's just adamant that he doesn't want to do it. But I mean, you're going to do the pregame and postgame. You might as well, you know, walk down to the ring with them and be seen on camera with them and stuff. That would help everybody involved.
Yeah, or even now, have an interaction with the New Day backstage, on camera, backstage, or even the ring, and just let them know, hey, I ain't forget what you guys said to me, and I got something for you. Do something to get his get back. I mean, do something with the New Day to actually make them make sense. I mean, they went from doing bootios to what's that commercial? Doing phone commercials. I forgot the name of that commercial.
Not Mint. What? Not Boost. What is that? I don't even remember the little green guy thing.
Yeah. They went from remember they first started, it was like a church choir praising. They went from that to doing pancakes to bootios to phone commercial to we the New Day. How could you guys turn against us? And Grayson Waller.
Yeah, Grayson Waller.
So one of the things I found online, Jamie, that everyone's been talking about a lot is I'm just preparing you because I know you do not like the MFTs or anything. Wait. On a side note, I just got a question though. On a side note, we all know AJ Styles is retiring in 2026.
Mm-hmm.
Is it kind of odd that the people he was with in the Bullet Club is now MFTs? Would it kind of make sense him to have this one last run with his boys?
Yeah, but WWE has invested so much into this whole bloodline thing when half the people that are in these bloodlines aren't even related to them in any sort of way whatsoever. But, like JC Mateo and people like that, they're not even related, but they're MFTs somehow. They're going to screw up the AJ Styles thing just like they screwed up the John Cena thing. If they screwed up Cena, they're sure as shit going to screw up AJ Styles because if you couldn't get it right with basically your number one guy in the last 20 years, are you really going to get it right for a guy that's been around for 10 years?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, like, you got Hikuleo, Tama, Tama, Tamatanga,
Tamatanga, Tangaloa, and
Tonga. Yeah, they all was in the Bullet Club.
Mm-hmm.
They had what were they? The Gorilla, Destiny, whatever they were.
Yeah,
they were all part of that faction. And you would think at some point, hopefully at some point, they would have an interaction with AJ. When I mean interaction, I mean not attacking AJ, maybe align themselves with AJ, maybe for a match, maybe for a pay-per-view for AJ.
they're
Or
not going to
maybe
put
get
any.
them and Finn Balor together. Just have like a I ain't gonna say something like a Bullet Club reunion.
They're not going to do anything that isn't part of WWE. Like it didn't come from WWE.
Oh, you mean anything that makes sense? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. But I think the only reason he got that introduction from John Cena is because that was a John Cena idea on his retirement tour. But like if that would have been something that was pitched by somebody else, I guarantee you they would have shut that down instantly. Because WWE does not like to acknowledge anything that didn't come from WWE. And when they do, they wreck it. I can go back to the NWO as a perfect example. One of the easiest things that you could have wrote into, and you screwed that up mightily.
Yeah, you did. And by the way, you gotta love John Cena introduction, the greatest leader of the Bullet Club history. I know Finn Balor looking like, dang, for real, really?
Yeah, Finn Balor's a couple years younger. He'll have his own.
No, I'm just saying.
No, I would definitely say out of the two, Finn Balor was definitely a bigger leader, better leader than AJ. AJ was good, but out of the two of them, I would take Finn's Bullet Club over AJ's.
Yeah, and I'm quite wondering. I could just envision Finn Balor's face when John Cena said that. Give me a match with him. Give me a match with him. No,
Yeah,
but
it's
I had to bring that in because to me, it would make sense for AJ in his retirement. Have his friends, have his former Bullet Club mates join him one last time.
No, I'm sure his retirement tour is mainly going to consist of wrestling people from TNA. And I mean that wholeheartedly. They're going to bring over, the Frankie Kazarians, the Eric Youngs. Christopher Daniels, I think, is basically like legit retired at this point, so I doubt it would be him. But yeah, you're going to bring over guys like that, like Kazarian and Eric Young and those guys. And that's basically going to be his retirement tour. I'm willing to bet. You might get another Finn Balor match or something like that, but for the most part, he's probably going to be wrestling TNA guys.
Right. I'm about to start a campaign to say AJ's retirement tour. Save it. Save it. So,
well, he's not one of their homegrown guys, so they're not going to put that much effort into it.
And I hate that too, man. I hate that stipulation. Like, it was one of our homegrown guys. We're going to take care of them. If he's not, then who cares? It kind of bothers me when they do that. I mean, especially when Vince did it. I mean, Vince always put, no matter how bad his homegrown talent is, he will always put them over the guys that he signed. Like, I can't tell you how many times Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, Perry Saturn, how many times
you can't say that name. You can't say that name.
I'm sorry. How many times Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, Perry Saturn all got screwed over by Vince McMahon when they were in the WWE because he's not one of their guys.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, The Undertaker was not one of his original guys. But he became his guy because he created The Undertaker. And because The Undertaker, I guess The Undertaker was more loyal than any other wrestler of Vince McMahon's liking, that he didn't screw him over at all. But he's not one of his original guys.
But he was a Vince McMahon creation. That's the caveat. Vince doesn't like the characters that he didn't create, which is why you wonder when he acquired WCW, where was Sting? And then you hear interviews with Bruce Pritchard and things like that. Well, Vince didn't know who Sting was. Bullshit. There's no way you work in a wrestling industry and you don't know who Sting was in 2001.
Sting was the biggest name and the biggest wrestler during that time.
And that's one of the things Bruce Pritchard, he didn't know Sting, so when we were bringing him up, he just dismissed it as he was a nobody. No, he didn't. They probably did offer Sting a contract, and Sting probably shot him down, is realistically probably what happened. Because again, you look at everybody, not counting the New Radicals, Saturn, Guerrero, Malenko, those guys, because they came over before the merger. But from the merger, who became a star?
Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit.
That he doesn't count. They were before the merger. They don't count because they were before the merger. Only one person actually had a career. Booker T is the only one. I mean, look what they did to Scott Steiner. Anybody of relevance. Diamond Dallas Page did that terrible stalker thing with The Undertaker. And then he was gone. And then I think they brought him back where he was doing the whole smiling thing, which was even creepier. And then he was gone again. But yeah, Booker T was the only one that had any sort of career.
Yeah, but see, the thing with Scott Steiner, you would think that because Scott Steiner been with the W prior to that time, that Vince knows this guy, that you might would have gave him a little better run than you gave him the second time around. I mean, the first time around, he was in the tag team with his brother.
He was, and apparently he caused a lot of issues back then too, if you watch stuff that happened. But again, Vince is the one that always says he doesn't care. Just making money. I was like, Mick Foley talks about it all the time. Make me money. Draw me money. Vince will let you do whatever you want as long as it makes him money. So I think to a certain degree, I mean, Mick Foley did that interview where he's like, I went to Vince and I told him I wanted to say all this and like get his approval before I was going to say it. And he's like, Vince just looked at me and said, just draw me money. And he's like, well, I was going to say this. I don't care. Just draw me money. And I think there is a certain level of that when it's storyline related. I think when it's business related behind the scenes is when there's issues. Like obviously Ultimate Warrior, that's a big one. Trying to hold up the show. Bret Hart. The Montreal screw job didn't have to happen the way it did. That was Vince's fault. Because they were trying to make it sound like Bret's contract was up that night, and it wasn't. And his only thing was, I don't want to lose in my hometown. Let me lose it the next night on Raw. Vince didn't want to be told what he was doing. So he forced the issue. All he had to do was wait until the very next night. Problem would have been solved. Never would have been a thing. Now, in hindsight, you could say that it worked in Vince's favor because people still talk about it now.
Yeah,
Where
because
if
he got involved. He called for the bell and got involved, and we already know that Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels at that time did not have a great. Well, they didn't like each
well,
other.
they still don't now.
I mean, now it's a little different. They're a little older, just a little bit, but yeah, they don't like each other.
But I mean, if that would have played out where Bret just dropped the title on Raw the next night, you probably would have heard, oh, Bret was upset, Bret was pissed off, but everything would have just went on. But now they've had this whole thing that has had multiple documentaries done, this and that. It worked out in Vince's favor in the long.
Right, and look, he put Shawn Michaels in a tough predicament, but Vince didn't care because it's Vince McMahon. But the one thing I will say this though is that when Sting finally came to the WWE,
They
yeah, he's
wrecked
still
it.
here. He did not win a match.
How do you go to the biggest event and then you lose to Triple H when Triple H is half in the grave career wise?
He had to put his own guy over.
I know, but it's just completely stupid. It
It
didn't do
was.
anything to help anything.
It was because if you storyline wise, Sting should have won that match.
I mean, Sting should have won the match, period. It's not like
Storyline
Triple H
wise,
needed a win at WrestleMania.
should have been Seth Rollins for the championship.
Mm-hmm.
Story wise, Sting should have got a rematch with Triple H. But hey, that's the story that they was telling us, and somehow, some way, when it comes to putting over the outsider, that wasn't gonna happen.
I think Sting realized pretty quick once he got here that he wanted out, and he was just gonna, whatever I'm told, just get it done and move on. And you could see how much fun he was having when he went to AEW.
Yeah.
5 years older and having a ball, and he looked miserable in WWE.
He was miserable because of the people who was running WWE. And I take one step further, even now, if he was in WWE now and Triple H was running things, he'd still be miserable. I think if it was a Paul Heyman or to a certain degree a Eric Bischoff, I think he will enjoy it. Because
Bischoff,
Paul Heyman was in WCW a long time ago. And Paul Heyman is an encyclopedia of history of wrestling next to Jim Cornette. So trust me, the respect for Sting that will be there with Paul Heyman.
yeah, for sure. I mean, you just named a couple people that it drives me nuts. How are they not? I know why Bischoff won't ever work for AEW. He rags on him all the time, so I get that. But how is Tony Khan not throwing money at some of these guys to say, fix my program?
Well,
like Cornette is readily available.
Actually, I'm glad you said that. So Jim Cornette talked about that. He said when Tony Khan was starting AEW, he did reach out to Jim Cornette. Jim Cornette went down to Jacksonville, and Jim Cornette seen what he was doing, and he said no, because Jim Cornette knew that the direction they were going is where they are right now.
Yeah, but to that, he's done well enough that they're still in business.
Yes, he did. He is.
You could say, too, that WWE's biggest threat that they ever had was WCW.
Yeah.
They've officially put on more shows than WCW did of their flagship show. So they've done enough. And that's the thing, is they've done enough to get to where they are. They need somebody that can now come in and take them to the next level. There are people that are good visionaries. There are people that are good builders. It's just like a pro team. You take somebody like, who am I thinking of here? Give me a second, it'll come to me. You take like a Stan Van Gundy.
Mm-hmm.
Hasn't coached in a while, NBA coach. He's going to be good for a really young team. He's going to help, let's say Seattle gets a new team tomorrow, which please let happen. I need Sean Kemp's jersey retired. I need Gary Payton's jersey retired.
Hey, we need to be in attendance for that.
Right? But Stan Van Gundy, very good with young players, very good at building a foundation. But he's a 3-year guy, 5-year guy tops. because he's not going to be the guy that's going to take you to a championship.
No,
You're
he'll
going to
be
have to
burnt out,
replace
but
him.
he'll burnt out the players by that time.
Exactly. Jim Harbaugh, another good example. Look at his pro career. He's basically 3 years per stop because he's good at training young players, molding young players. Vets don't get along with him. Same with Stan Van Gundy. It's not that Stan Van Gundy can't do it. It's his style of coaching is too demanding that vets, maybe back in the 80s it would have worked, early 90s when the guys had that level of respect. But you get somebody like, what's his face now? Minnesota, Anthony Edwards. You think Anthony Edwards is going to listen to a Stan Van Gundy?
No,
No.
no. And I think with the comparison with Jim Harbaugh is that Jim Harbaugh does have a wear and tear with the players. Jim Harbaugh personality is usually a wear and tear in the front office.
Mm-hmm.
And he's quirky. So they will really quickly will go sour on Jim Harbaugh and he'll burn them out and you'll see Jim either quit, never get fired, and he'll go to somewhere else.
But again, you carry that over to AEW. You've gotten it this far, but you've plateaued. And you plateaued pretty hard. Like at one point you were talked about you pushed WWE's programming off of an entire night. Not just a program hour, you pushed them off of Wednesdays onto Tuesdays. And now you're not even cracking 500,000 viewers. Like you've got to bring somebody in that knows how to push this to the next level. People hate him, but one guy that knows how to tell a story is Vince Russo. And Vince Russo gets a lot of flack for things that I think were 100% out of his control. You look at when he left to go to WCW, look at what he had to work with. Multiple wrestlers that had creative control. For all the love that Hulk Hogan gets professionally, Hulk Hogan screwed up so much stuff in wrestling. He was part of some of.
Hulk Hogan killed careers.
Well, yeah, he killed careers, but he's part of two of the absolute worst moments in the history of wrestling because of his own ego that weren't even all that far apart. They were only within like 2 years of each other. You got the finger poke of doom with Nash. You got the refusal to lose to Jeff Jarrett. Like all that stuff. So I don't blame Vince Russo nearly as much as a lot of other people probably do. And even when he went to TNA, look at what he had to work with again. Who was there? Hogan and people like that. That had creative control and the ability to influence what was going to happen. But Vince Russo knows how to tell a story. Vince Russo is the reason, well, a big reason why WWF came back to even have a chance to become WWE.
I put like this. It's to me, it's 50-50. And for me, with Vince Russo, I think Vince Russo should recognize his downfall with the name, aka Hulk Hogan. So when you go to TNA, you know that the same guy who kind of hurt your career in WCW, it's the same guy that's in TNA. You might want to say no to that. I agree to a certain point with what you're working with, but I also feel that when you have a guy who is creative, one of the top creative minds in Vince Russo, I would think that you could overcome some of those challenges.
But if he doesn't have the pull, because again, it's not like he was running the whole thing. He was their story guy.
You're right. He wasn't. I'm not talking about the people who have creative control. Look, we see that with Mercedes. That ain't gonna happen. No, I mean, I'm quite sure he gave them some good pitches, wrote some good stories, and they all said, nope, 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 nope. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about everything else.
Yeah. I'm just saying AEW needs some love. They need some people that can get in there and take them to the next level.
Yeah, but we hear, because I listen to Jim Cornette. He is right when it comes to Tony don't need to be booking. Tony don't
No,
need to be
100%.
head of creative. He's doing so much. But I think what a lot of people is getting away from Jim Cornette is trying to say about the wrestlers in the back is that they don't listen. For example, why your EVPs are wrestlers? Who's going to take them serious? Why you don't have real EVPs? Why you using wrestlers to do wrestling organization?
Why do you think Cody left? Do you think Cody left because it was his all-time dream to be WWF champ,
No,
WWE champ? No.
no.
He left because he knew there was no credibility in AEW. They got together and had this idea of, hey, if we can make this one event shine, we should start a company.
I
And
think,
that's basically what
yeah,
happened.
I think something happened between him and Tony, and I do believe that some of it stems from booking, because Cody learned from his dad about booking matches. And I think, in my personal opinion, this is mine, I think that there was a power struggle, a power tripping on Tony's part. But I also believe that both guys got an ego. Both guys got ideas. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
saying that Cody Rhodes was not going to go back to the WWE, because I truly believe at some point he was going to go back to the WWE, go back home and finish his career. But you do not leave a company that you start. You do not leave a company that you start and go to the enemy. You just
Well,
don't do that.
that's what I'm saying is like you were part of the founding fathers of this company, not just you're one of the original wrestlers that was hired. Like you helped be a founder of this entire
You
company.
hired something. You hired these wrestlers. You scouted
So
these wrestlers.
you didn't leave AEW because it was your all-time dream to go be WWF champ. You could see the writing on the wall. The company was basically when Cody left, the company had already peaked at that point.
Yeah, and then there were some rumors. Cody hasn't confirmed it, but about the disrespect towards Brandy. I do believe that kind of played a role. But again, I don't. You do not lead a company that you start from the ground up, and you have more say and pull in now coming next to Tony Khan. Now, let something change at that time. We will never know because Cody won't talk about it. But when he does talk about it, it's gonna be newsworthy.
Well, again, it's they all founded it, but it was Tony's money.
Yeah, it
So
was Tony's.
Tony's ultimately going to have the final say on everything.
It was Tony's money. But the more I look at it, the more I start to believe that Tony valued the Bucks and Kenny Omega's opinions more than Cody Rhodes.
Probably. I mean, even to that point, they were more accomplished than Cody was. I mean, Cody it went from being Stardust in WWE to I'm going to go wrestle on the Indies for a little bit, build up a little bit of a name against people that were already established stars in Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks. So Cody had just started to build his name up. That's
He,
what people forget. They think he went to AEW as this big star already. He was still building.
well, if you want to say they're more accomplished because they have the titles, okay, I give you that. But Cody grew up in this business. I mean, Cody's name carries a lot of weight, because his dad. His dad was not only a heck of a wrestler, but his behind the scene, his dad was a heck of a development wrestler and one of the best bookers of all time. So Cody name in itself is more bigger than the Bucks and Kenny Omega, because you got to think about it. Those three guys did not build their name in the States. They built their name over there in Japan. Unless you was
Mhm.
a New Japan fan, a lot of people did not watch New Japan. I watched it. But when these guys came to the States, they didn't have a bigger name. Cody Rhodes' name was bigger than Omega and Bucks. But
Yeah,
as
but
far
I'm
as
talking about
accomplishments
attracting
of
talent.
titles, on titles, yes, I give you that. But Cody Rhodes, I mean, like I said, I just stand by and say he's a bigger name than those three guys.
But either way, I mean, AEW they've got to get something that's going to get them over the hump. I mean, Darby Allin recently talked about, it's everything's good now that we cut the cancer out, and then he had to come back and clarify he wasn't talking about CM Punk, he was talking about other wrestlers. Well, there's only a few wrestlers you can really say at that point. Are you talking about Rusev? Are you talking about Malachi Black? Like, you're clearly trying to take shots at WWE of wrestlers that went back there, but AEW is known for, I mean, look at the issues with CM Punk. Their guys over there don't like to be coached.
Look at the issues with Britt Baker.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the issues of Andrade when he was there the first time around, even though he had a good relationship with Tony. Look at Rusev, like you said. Look at anyone who's sitting on the sidelines or left to go back to the WWE, and you ask them about the AEW locker room, not by Tony Khan, the AEW locker room, they will candidly tell you the truth.
And I think that is a big part of it, is that the guys with experience, the Cornets and things like that, just don't want to deal with it because they know they're just going to get pushed back and it's just going to be a waste of their time. And
Yeah,
unless Tony changes the culture, they're going to be stuck at where they are. The wrestling is good, but it's not going to be good enough to take them to a whole new level that they need to go to actually compete. That's why I was saying their competition is TNA. WWE is out of reach of both of those companies. And let's be honest, TNA is basically a WWE company at this point anyway.
yeah.
But
Using to get a TV contract.
I think that's probably the biggest thing is the talent that they have over there. It doesn't like to take coaching, doesn't like to take ideas. I mean, I'm not a CM Punk fan, but when you find out what the fight with Jack Perry was all about, where CM Punk was like, that's too dangerous, you don't need to be doing that, and that's what blows the whole thing up. Like, come on. He wasn't wrong. I mean, go back to Goldberg when Goldberg punched that limousine and smashed the window out.
Could have
He
killed
severed
himself.
an artery. Yeah, he severed an artery in his arm. If they didn't stitch him up quick enough, he could have died. Like, that's real. So just little things like that. Like, you don't need to go through a car windshield. Like, it's dumb. But AEW definitely needs somebody that can step in and right that ship. Tony does not need to be doing booking. He needs to be doing the PR, the things like that, that they do, the media scrums and things like that. Let Tony do that stuff. But they need somebody that knows how to book, because Tony books like he's just a wrestling fan and just doing what he wants to see.
Yeah, it's called hologram. Hopefully next week, SmackDown will be a better show. Hopefully
Hopefully,
Monday Night Raw will be a better show.
if it's not a better show, I'm going to get on here and just start slandering the NFL. I'm just telling you right now.
And that works for me because we already seen the NBA already been slandered. They got busted for gambling and all that. Now I'm just waiting for the NFL to get busted on something more bigger because, but that's coming.
Well, it has to, because they have ownership in ESPN, which owns ESPN Bet. So they're literally financially incentivized to force people to lose their bets.
Yeah.
So for anybody that uses ESPN Bet, just think about that.
Yeah. Look, I know this is off topic. I know me and Jamie about to get up out of here. And let me tell you guys something that I felt from day one. Sports leagues do not need to be involved in sports gambling, period. Why? Because it's a setup. You basically setting up your own players up for failure. I'm sorry to say that. If the NBA, look what they're going through. Malik Beasley, he ain't signed a contract yet. He got found innocent. Terry Rozier, after being investigated for 2 years, along with Chauncey Billups and Damon Jones. One, Rozier sports betting, Damon Jones for insider trading, and for poker. Chauncey Billups for poker. Now, the poker thing, look, you hear stories that guys lose 200,000 millions of dollars playing poker on the plane or at the casino. And honest to God, I'm not really shocked by that. I'm not shocked about anybody being busted. When you get in bed with sports betting like these professional sports leagues are doing, you're setting up your players to fail, to be arrested, to be accused, to get extorted. I mean, the greatest basketball player of all time lost millions of dollars gambling on poker on the golf course. We know this already.
Michael Jordan didn't retire for 2.5 years because he wanted to.
Right.
He
It
was
was a reason
forced
why.
out.
And for everybody, first off, all these guys are innocent until proven guilty. We got to wait for all the facts and all the information to come out. I know we got some of it, but still, they deserve that due process. These guys are responsible for their actions. I put this on the NBA because you knew this. You knew something was going to happen. So when you come out and say you're very disturbed, please, your guys will search underneath every couch cushion, every mattress under the bed that you were trying to get more revenue in your league, but you failed. So what you do? Yeah, we're gonna go to sports betting. Everybody's doing it. Let's legalize it. Let's get the NFL. Oh, the NFL want to be in it. Major Baseball, hockey, they all want to be part of it because they are so greedy. They want this money. Let me tell you what's told to me a long time ago. All money ain't good money. All money isn't good money. And when you get in bed with the gambling, Then you got to be in bed with the mafia. There's gonna be more things come out. I just had that little rant. I just want to get off my chest because I know social media, everybody gonna be judging these three guys and future guys for being caught, but they're not gonna place half of the blame on the sports leagues because if the sports league would never got involved into gambling, legalizing sports betting, we wouldn't be hearing none of this stuff.
The reason I got back into watching wrestling heavily is because when they legalized gambling, I basically stopped watching sports. The only thing I'll watch Pistons games, I'll watch Tigers games, I'll watch Lions games, but I don't watch inside the NBA anymore. I don't go out of my way to watch any other teams play besides just the local Detroit teams.
Yeah.
Even football. I don't watch other football games. I don't even watch my Raiders play. I just watch Lions. That's it.
I do watch, not all the time, but I do watch these other leagues, and I do watch NBA. You can't, for a lot of people. Let me tell you something. As a guy who's working in the media, I watch the game different. But when I go to casinos and I sit and try to watch these games, I'm not watching the game. I'm watching the people who place bets because they watching the game a whole lot different than what I'm watching. Because these guys are trying to win. These guys are trying to get rich quick or hit a lick real quick. It's nothing wrong with
And
that.
Rozier's going to go down. Because, I mean, if you just bring up some of his lowlights from back in his Hornets days, now that you know that he's being accused of gambling, some of that stuff doesn't even make sense of what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
Like blatant passes to the other team, just like he wasn't even trying to fake it like it was good.
Look, the guy took himself out the game 9 minutes into the game with a foot injury.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you need to know about everything that Terry Rozier did was that right there. Look, let's keep it 100. Chauncey Billups, Damon Jones, and Terry Rozier are gonna be banned for life for the NBA. We know that.
Oh, yeah.
We know that. Jonte Porter, who betted, he didn't even care about this whole process. He's like, yeah, forget it. I'm done with it. He got a lifetime ban. All three of these guys gonna get banned, but there's gonna be more. And don't be surprised if he's here be a bigger name. It's gonna come. It might not happen in the NBA, but it might happen in the NFL. It might happen in baseball, might happen. We don't know. So I had to get that off my chest because I'm sick and tired of everybody, shocked by this happening. But yet, I'll say this because somebody has said this. This lady online, she said, "How is it that the FBI released names of everyone who's involved in the sports gambling situation, but you don't release the Epstein files yet?" She missing the point. You can't release those files because everybody will go to jail.
Well, the gambling thing too is going to blow up. You're going to have a couple people. Chauncey will probably go down. Teddy Rozier is going to go down. But there's too many names already. You're already 30 plus names deep into it, and it'll branch off into the NFL is going to be next. I mean, the NFL, you can just watch the games and see how bad it is. I mean,
yeah.
Perfect example. You just go back to the Lions Chiefs game, and that's not because I'm a Lions fan. The NFL is the one sport that there is a penalty happening on every single play. So for a team to not have a single penalty for an entire game means you're purposely making that happen.
The NFL is cheating and is rigged, telling you without telling you. They're telling you it is, but you're not looking at it. I'm gonna phrase this: you're looking at it, but you're not believing what you see.
And don't bet on the NFL. I think the NBA and MLB, I think both have it in there. I have to double check. But if you look at the copyright of the NFL, it says it's for sports entertainment. So if anybody thinks that they're going to lose thousands upon thousands of dollars and sue the NFL, you can't, because it's an entertainment league. It's another reason why you got to stop watching, because sports aren't real. Once you get past high school sports, it's all fake.
If everybody would actually pay attention to what Charles Barkley ever said, is that when he's playing basketball, it's like a fantasy. It's like he playing the kids' game, making millions of dollars. It didn't feel like it was real. That's how most of those players feel. The NFL a little different. Everybody gotta understand though. Sports entertainment in NFL, they do that and they say that to protect the owners. because we all know what they're doing.
Roger Goodell needs to make us $50 million a year.
And here it is. I'm making pennies on the dollar.
All right.
Should have been NFL commissioner. All right, everybody. Me and Jamie will see you guys on Tuesday. Enjoy your Saturday. Go Blue.
Yes, go Blue.
And for those who care, Ole Miss lost to Oklahoma. I don't like neither squad. See you guys on Tuesday. We up out of here.